Hi everyone, in this video we're going to work through solving a triangle using law of cosines. So make sure if you're working on law of cosines homework that the first thing you try to use is law of cosines. If you're starting the problem with a law of sines, then you might not be giving yourself practice on everything you should be able to do. You want to be prepared for me to specify which method that I want you to use on a test, because I may do that if I want to see specific things. Okay, so for this one, we want to try and get a reasonable sketch. So I'm going to start with the angle that I know. So 125 degrees is a bit bigger than 90. So we'll say that is roughly what 125 degrees looks like. And that's angle beta. And then I have sides A and C. So I do not have side B, which means the opposite is one of my unknowns. So you can choose which one is A and which one is C. I'm going to say this is A equals 4. And C equals 6. And then when I connect, this is my missing side B. And I'm also missing angle alpha and angle gamma. Okay, so this is a side angle side. So if we want to try and use law of cosines on this, that is an appropriate use of law of cosines. And when we go picking which version of law of cosines to use, we only have one angle, so we don't actually have any choice. We need to use the one with beta in it. So we're going to use the b squared equals, which works out well because b is, I think, the first thing I would try and solve for anyways. But unless you have all three sides of the triangle, you can't put an angle that you don't know. You can't choose the version of law of cosines that has an angle you don't know. So we'll say b squared equals a squared. A is 4, so that's 16, plus c squared, which is 36, minus 2 times a times c, which is 24, times cosine of beta, 125 degrees. So if you want to do a little bit of the arithmetic as you start setting this up, that's fine with me. As far as seeing work, I really need to see your original setup. And then for one that's not too messy, if you want to jump straight to the answer, that's fine. So in this case, it's going to be the square root of all that stuff. Just make sure I can see your original setup really clearly and what you plugged in your calculator really clearly. If you make a mistake typing something in your calculator, that's not great, but I don't think it's nearly as bad as if you make a mistake actually setting up or solving. So I need to see all that work. I'm going to do a little bit more arithmetic again. I see 4052 minus 48 cosine of 125 degrees. Okay, so if I take the square root of 52 minus 48 cosine of 125, and let me make sure I'm in degree mode, I am, I get about 8.92. So B is about 8.92. Okay, so this was solve the triangle, which means my next step would be to go looking for either angle alpha or angle gamma. That's what I'm missing. And it doesn't matter which one at this point. I'm going to use another law of sines. I'm going to use a law of sines. So it's fine to switch to law of sines after you've started yourself off with law of cosines. And I'm going to go for alpha. It doesn't matter, but I'll say sine of alpha over 4 is equal to sine of 125 degrees over 8.92, which means that sine of alpha is 4 times the sine of 125 degrees over 8.92, which means that alpha is the inverse sine of all of that. So again, it's fine with me if you can go from setup to solved in one step. That's okay. I don't need to see the intermediate step, but I do need to see your initial setup, and I do need to see exactly what got plugged into your calculator. So I'm going to take the inverse sine of 4 times sine of 125 degrees divided by 8.92 sine, okay, which means alpha is about 21.55 degrees. And that looks reasonable in my picture. It shouldn't be a big angle for sure. Okay, so 21.55 degrees. And then my last step will be to find gamma. And that shouldn't be too much trouble because gamma is just going to be 180 degrees minus 125 degrees minus 21.55 degrees. So 180, 80, 60, 55 minus 21.55, 33.45 degrees. Okay, and we found all information about that triangle, so triangle solved. Thanks for watching.